What's going on, guys? Got a good question here, although it's not exactly in my lane because of the age category. This question comes from Greg, talking about injuries, changing and evolving his training program to avoid the pain and basically to work around injuries. So anybody who's a serious lifter, who's been involved in training for 15, 20 years or more, you know what I'm talking about. I'm age 40, started training at age 13 and a half. It's actually mid-June, and this is what I call like my weightlifting birthday or anniversary, because that is when I began, mid-June 1989. It is now mid-June 2016. Let's check out this question coming to us from Greg. Greg says, I'm 57 and I used to compete in powerlifting back in the 80s and 90s, which is actually the era I grew up around. So I miss those times. Amazing. As a result, I can't work with free weights like I used to, especially the bench press and squats. My shoulders, hips, and knees can't take it. I've got rheumatoid arthritis and bursitis from all the heavy lifting I did years ago. What do you recommend to help me reduce body fat and get my body toned and strong again? So Greg, couple things. You're going to have to warm up differently, warm up more effectively. You could probably still squat. Maybe you're going to use a safety bar or other specialty bars. Let's set up the old camera. So you'll use a safety squat bar for pressing, maybe one of the neutral bars. These things give or they take away and alleviate stress on the joints, and they give you some more leeway, some flexibility in your training. Before you squat, you might have to do 5-10 minutes of sled work, or you might have to do some light bike riding or stair stepping, something that gets the blood flow. Of course, your equipment depends on where you're training, but I'm 40. I have to pay a lot more attention, not just because I'm 40, but because of the mileage on my body. Same goes for you. Here's what's interesting. At the gym next door to one of my locations, I see 2 or 3 guys that are still lifting that used to lift when I was a kid. They're still training hard. They may not lift as much as they did, but I remember Marty Gallagher saying that, Marty Gallagher's book, The Purposeful Primitive, and Marty would be a great guy to reach out to and check out his book, The Purposeful Primitive. He speaks about, the guys he trained or trained with in the 80s, they got injured when they became 40 and 50, 60, and started saying, well, if I can't do what I did when I was 20, I don't want to do it. Or that's the only way they see. We've got to accept that as we get older, we've got to train differently. And listen, older for some people might be now you're 30 and you're not training like you did when you're 20. It depends on where you are in the life cycle of training. For me, when I was age 35, 36, I was at probably my best, my strongest. Right now, my deadlift's not where it used to be. I had shoulder surgery, but I look back and I remember sophomore year, my shoulder was hurting me tremendously, especially during wrestling season. And as a young kid, nobody really helped me work around those things. So what you've got to do is train smart. If it hurts, find a way to train around that, and also find out, why does it hurt? Can I improve my mobility? Do I need more soft tissue work? What things must I do to get back on track? And even, listen to what Louis Simmons speaks a lot about. And if you look at some of his oldest, if you could gain access to him, his West Side videos, Chuck Vogelpohl used to show up 20, 30 minutes prior to everybody and do lat pull downs and all kinds of supplemental / accessory work to get a good pump, and he would feel great. I oftentimes find myself doing a lot of that stuff. Then at the end, when I'm sweating and feeling all pumped up, oftentimes that's when I'm going to deadlift, squat, or do a big lift. I just feel good with it. You look at Travis Mash, she's doing a great job. So we got to pay attention to the mobility and the overall health. Go back to the old school Health and Strength or Strength and Health magazines. They had it right. Stretching, eating healthy, being active, go out, jogging, biking, hiking. They spoke about doing healthy things rather than just beating the crap out of yourself with heavy weights. They always had weightlifting plus powerlifting plus, body weight / basic gymnastic exercises. Those things That style of training must regularly be blended together. If you're in one extreme or in another extreme, extremes are what cause the injuries. And anybody who's a serious lifter has been hurt. They've been down and out before, but don't let it hold you down. Instead, or in turn, allow those things to make you smarter. Also, look at what Donnie Thompson's doing with those heavy rollers, the ex-wife and all those things that he calls them. A lot of guys are still way behind the times. They're not taking care of their body. They think that, oh, I'm going to train hard, and if I can't train hard, I'm just going to stop. The training never stops. Hope this helps you out, George, and do some research, some leg work on your own, and get back to it, brother. We must never stop training, ever. Peace, guys.